It was, Matt, and we are back with TK Wrestling. We're here. Matt and I were talking about Monday Night Raw just a second ago and how I have some stuff to say about it, which is true. But before we get into all that, make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share out the videos with all your friends. Let us know what you thought about Monday Night Raw down in the comments section down below. Matt, as you can see from the hat down here in the boot in Louisiana, we're getting ready for Mardi Gras season. It is that season, that time of year.
Dude, I can't believe how early it is this year, man. Usually I'm used to Mardi Gras in March. This Mardi Gras, like, middle of February, dude. I mean, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Mardi Gras and Easter always messing up our yearly plans because they're all over the place every year. So yeah, Mardi Gras season is in full effect. Parades are already happening all over the city. I've had king cake a few times already this year. So yeah, Mardi Gras in full effect. If you're not from the South or you've never been down south for a Mardi Gras, it's something that you can't really put into words. You kind of just have to experience it. So very fortunate I've grown up around it because it's a very fun time if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm starting to get a little more annoyed by it as I become a parent for longer because my son's birthday just passed, and so we have to plan around Mardi Gras festivities, which gets really damn annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah, his birthday party went off this weekend. I don't want to say without a hitch, but it all came together pretty well. So happy birthday to the little one. And we've already built one of the Lego sets yesterday, Matt. So
Wow.
it's
yeah. Like
yeah,
he's gonna have a
we built the
Lego,
Bluey Beach set.
he have a Lego fortress by the time he's done. So
Well, we got him a few plates, the Lego plates that he can stack some of the builds on now. So now we're creating like decorative scenes and stuff with all of his Bluey ones, and next will be all his Mario ones. And yeah, so and at the end of the day, he comes home from school, he has a Lego set to build, and then by the time he's done with that, time to get ready for bedtime. We're getting the routine going. So we have a plan. He our plan is to build one every day after school until we run out of them. So but yeah, so we are jumping into Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened on Friday Night SmackDown, some of the rumors and reports. Braun Breaker is hurt. We're going to talk about that and the ramifications of that going into WrestleMania, if he's going to make WrestleMania. But yeah, Matt, we can jump into Monday Night Raw, and then as we talk about the qualifications for the chambers, we can bring up the people who qualified on Friday Night SmackDown and kind of talk a little bit about them. But I want to jump into Monday Night Raw and say, I told you right before we started that I had some stuff to say about this Monday Night Raw. This Raw felt so awkward, man. Everybody's timing on the mic felt off, felt kind of awkward, felt just out of sync. And maybe who was it that was someone was waiting for a cue, and it was Dom and Liv. They were standing there waiting for the Stephanie Bacare cue. And
right, and her music
it ended
hit.
up to like 5 to 7 seconds of until her music hit, and they're just standing there. And there were moments like that throughout the entire night. And it started out pretty bad for me with this AJ Lee promo, man. I was not a fan of this at all.
Dude, you heard me last night when I was watching it. I'm like, look, I might hate AJ Lee more than I hate Punk, and I don't like, that was the most obnoxious promo maybe ever.
Dude, it was, I don't know if they just gave her an open mic and said, go say what you want to say, and that's what she came up with, or someone told her what to say. Regardless, I've seen so many people, they're like, y'all are being too hard on AJ. It was a good promo. She's just expressive. I wrote this down. It's not that she's expressive. It's just that it was a bad promo. It just wasn't good. And it was just like,
the real problem is I feel like they're going to lead to her beating Becky. Like this is going to her beating Becky at Elimination Chamber, which I don't want at all. Like this, because I don't know what she's doing. Is she coming back? Is this like her? She's going to make regular appearances, and then she came out and she's just so like blasé, like she doesn't care. She's not invested. Like the promo it didn't make me want her to be champion, and it didn't make me like her. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not somebody who remembers the AJ Lee from 10 years ago or whatever it was, So yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I mean, I figured you were going to like it or something. So I guess I'm surprised that you were just as down on this promo as I was.
No, man, it felt, I don't want to say, because she's a babyface, right? And in some ways you have to do that, but it felt almost pandering to the crowd in a lot of ways throughout a lot of the promo. Because like you start off by saying, oh, I'm not here for you, Becky. I'm here to support my girl Maxine. She has a match tonight. A non-title match against Natalya, which no shade on Natty. Natty's a legend. But like you don't show up for months on end, and then you don't show up for Maxine when she has championship matches, but you show up on a random Monday Night Raw when she's facing Natty. I mean, okay, cool, I guess. And unless the whole promo was just like a super, because eventually it turned into a conniving way of getting Becky to agree to a title match.
Right, right.
But unless the whole thing was that, it didn't come off that way. It came off very poorly presented. And again, you said you don't know the AJ Lee of old. I feel like people saying that AJ Lee's promos have always been like this are not being truthful. Her promos are not, it almost feels as though she's going for a nostalgia pop from the crowd every sentence that comes out of her mouth. She's like, "Here's my sentence. Look at the crowd, look for a pop." And it's like, it kind of loses its authenticity for me in a way, and a lot of the times that's what made AJ Lee so special back in the day was her authenticity and her not caring of what the crowd or the other people in the back or the other women on the roster thought. She said what she had to say, and now it feels like I'm saying what you want me to say, not what I want to say, and it almost comes across that way every time she's on the mic, and I don't know, man. It just it didn't hit for me. I wrote down also on top of AJ's part feeling kind of weird, Becky almost felt in a way that she was overacting with her character. Like
I
don't get
thought
me
Becky
wrong,
was gonna
she's
break
the
character there for a second, honestly, dude. Like
right.
I think sometimes AJ almost had her laughing, you know, like
Well, and
legitimately laughing, like tickled.
And to me, it felt almost like Becky was kind of doing too much because AJ wasn't doing enough. You know, kind of overcompensating to like meet her in the middle a little bit, saying like, "Hey, I need a little more from you in this promo. Like, we're trying to be building this, and you're being so nonchalant about it." And then when I felt like it really got lost was in, I guess you could call it the second half of the promo, was when Becky was like, "You want a title match at Elimination Chamber? You want a match? Blah 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 blah." And then after that, AJ Lee spent the next like 2 minutes just like slowly drawing out with what it felt like we got so close to the apex of the promo for AJ to pull it back down and get the crowd all hype again when they were already there. You didn't need to do it again. You don't have to kill the energy to bring it back up in 90 seconds. It feels redundant. And then whenever it starts to feel redundant, it feels less impactful. And it almost felt like 90 seconds where it made it feel less impactful almost ruined the whole promo. On top of the fact that I just wasn't a fan of the way that AJ presented this promo. And again, it felt like Becky's overreactions in some ways, like her overly maniacal laugh or her like stuttering and you know, just the way she was doing things. It almost felt as if they like were so opposite, AJ and Becky, in a way that they went too far opposite. And it just didn't mesh very well. They did not feel on the same page for me. And this didn't really hype me up that much for the match in Chicago. And maybe we get a big brawl between the two. And that's cool and all. But I just want to say, as big of a fan as I am as AJ, I can also admit whenever she does something I don't like. And since she's come back, I gotta admit, I'm just not a huge fan of her promo work. And, you know, last night I really thought accentuated that. So I'm sure people are going to tear me up for this clip when I post it, but it is what it is. It's my opinion, and that's how I felt. And I just didn't feel like it was a good segment. I really didn't.
Like I said, I'm 100% with you. Where you say unauthentic, that's where I'm feeling like she's blasé, like she's just like, it didn't feel real or anything. It felt like I didn't, and it opened Raw, so I was like kind of sitting there like, nothing was hitting, and I don't feel like I felt that way about previous AJ ones even so far. Like I feel like in some ways I was trying to like her, and then this one just completely turned me off. So, and now, like I said, I'm worried. Like before, like I wanted to see her and Becky go at it. Now I'm worried they're going to go at it and she's going to win, and then we're going to be stuck in like, what? She wins the title, then she's just like, I didn't really even want this, and just drops it and walks out the ring or something. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
because like again, like you said at the top of the pod, it's like you made it feel as though I mean, you said, "Becky, I'm not here for you." So, like, you're not here for the champion. You're not here
Hmm.
for the championship. Why should I believe that 5 minutes later, now all of a sudden you want a title match and you value that championship? Like, do you want the championship just because Becky has it, or do you want the championship because you want to be a part of that lineage? And it feels almost as if you just want it because Becky has it. And so, I don't know, it just kinda again, this just wasn't this just wasn't it for me.
Yeah, it just didn't. It
I'm
didn't
not
work
feeling
for
it.
me, and I guess I'm surprised it worked for other people because I'm seeing that Bleacher Report gave it an A. So yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're in the minority here.
we
Maybe
must be.
so.
We
But
must be. But
well,
I did not enjoy it. Like I said, I
and then
texted you
let's talk
during it.
about. Yeah, yeah, you did, and you're 100% right. Let's talk about later on in the night. Let's skip a little bit to the Maxine and Natty match that happened later on. It
Hmm.
ended. Was it a count out? Was the final result? Was that there? I think it was with the submission on the table, and then they just ruled it a count out. Trying to make
Right.
sure that I have the actual proper result. Yeah, no contest is what they're calling it. Okay. But again, Natty laying in these shots and giving this vibe, both I mean, and Maxine, the way she tries to fight off, is given this vibe of like I don't want to say a shoot in terms of like they're really like fighting each other, but it almost feels that way. It almost feels the same way as the promos and the vignettes felt like we said a few weeks ago when Maxine was tapping everybody out and Maxine and Natty were fighting, but they were really just doing some really intense training where I mean that's the heart way. That's the heart dungeon way. And still Natty's presenting that body energy that gives me the vibe that somehow down the line, Natty and Maxine are gonna have a match that I think Natty's probably going to come out on top and in a weird way takes Maxine under her wing and Maxine kind of embraces this more physical, I don't want to say dark side, but like this more physical, physically imposing side where she kind of just doesn't care about everything else going on. Because I mean, you look, we talk about the AJ Lee integration and how AJ Lee comes out while this is all happening. And now we can probably assume that AJ Lee and Natty are going to have it like maybe a tune up or a warm up match before Elimination Chamber in
Right.
Chicago.
Right.
So now Maxine is interwoven with Natty and AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. And so I just wonder if maybe Maxine just starts taking a few losses here and starts to realize like while AJ Lee's intentions may have been good, it's starting to like cost her and she's not winning the way she needs to ever since she lost that title. So I don't know. I'm not trying to book it exactly on how we get there with Natty and Maxine, but I still feel that vibe that maybe down the line it's going to be some like respect beaten into you type of partnership where they probably end up women's tag title champions down the line. So I don't know. That's just the vibe I'm getting just from like wrestling mumbo jumbo in my brain.
I mean, my problem is the fact that Natty and Maxine or Natty trained Maxine. Like, where was AJ during this? Right? Why wasn't she the one training Maxine? Why have we not seen like? I'm just, I feel like AJ's just being inserted into the storyline because they want her and Becky Lynch to go at it. I feel like that's the whole thing. But I don't know. Like I feel like all of a sudden, just this one night, the wheels come off the cart a little bit in this storyline, by inserting AJ Lee and inserting her for Elimination Chamber. Like, if this was a buildup to an AJ Lee Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, maybe that makes sense. But we're already doing it for Elimination Chamber. It feels like we're rushing to, because what? Elimination Chamber, like you said, it's in Chicago, and that's AJ and Punk's hometown. So let's put them both on the marquee. I just, is that the reason? Like, we just want to, hype the hometown heroes. But if that's the case, as you said, hometown heroes don't win in their hometown. So maybe that means Becky is going to win. And then what? Do they rematch at WrestleMania? Do we bring in Maxine and Natty? Is it going to be like one of my least favorite matches, another fatal four-way sort of thing? I don't know, but right now I feel like this insertion of AJ Lee this quickly and making it an elimination chamber match just kind of it kind of just screwed the pooch for me a little bit.
Yeah, I do think we are working towards a WrestleMania match between them. I think we're just going to get a rematch from the
Right, right. You
chamber.
don't think there's going to be
Yeah.
like Maxine or Natty going to be in it in any way, shape, or form?
No, I think that either we're gonna get Maxine and Natty one-on-one at WrestleMania, or we're gonna have the blow off of them the Raw after WrestleMania. Because if they don't make the card, which we've seen from WWE before, they will take good storylines off the card. So if they don't make the WrestleMania card, I could see them being one of the premier matches on Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania, where they have like maybe you could just do like a street fight where they just like brawl all over the arena and really just kick each other's ass. I could see something like that. But no, I really don't see Maxine and Natty being inserted into the title picture. I think they're both removed from it right now. But I do think that Natty could be IC champion later this year. And maybe that's how it works out. Maybe they don't become tag team champions and Natty takes Maxine under her wing and she shows her the proper way to hold the Intercontinental Championship. And maybe Natty wins it later on in the year, and then finally Maxine and Natty break up, or Maxine finally stands up for herself and can win that title back from Natty later on this year. Again, I don't want to fantasy book the whole thing right now, but I could see them being intertwined for a lot longer than just past WrestleMania, in a maybe different capacity than we think. But no, I don't think that Maxine and Natty are going to be in that title picture come WrestleMania. I think it's just going to be a rematch between AJ and Becky at Mania,
Do you think we're
more than
gonna
likely.
see more AJ then, like, in the WWE world, or is this, like, is she just part-time in it, or is this, like, her attempt to come back full time?
I think we do see more of her
Okay.
now that it's WrestleMania season, and
Mhm.
she can, because from what I heard, she had been on a book tour, and so this was all part of the contract anyways, and whatever, whatever, whatever. Hopefully, she is more full time going forward. But I mean, if she shows up twice a month, that would be a lot more than she's been showing up recently. So, yeah, I hope she's showing up more, and I think that's where we're headed. And if not, again, how do you want me to be excited about this match if she's not showing up more?
Right, right.
All right, so kind of talking more about how I felt this night just felt off with promos and on the mic work. Let's talk about Punk and Finn, their whole segment. Finn came out, took the mic from Michael Cole, who was going to be interviewing CM Punk. And look, I gotta be honest, man. When Finn was cutting any of his promos last night, it felt fine. But it was when Finn wasn't talking and when the camera would be on him, he felt so checked out. He felt so just like out of it. His reactions weren't there. Finn just felt so out of it, and the reactions felt off. When Punk's music hit, there was zero reaction from Finn. Like he was straight faced. Whenever Punk or Adam Pierce would be having an intense moment, he was just straight faced. And I don't know, man. It almost feels in a way, and not in a way, they've set the WrestleMania main event up already. It's gonna be
Right,
Punk and Roman. We
right,
know that this is a foregone conclusion. Finn's not winning this match.
right.
And it feels like Finn knows he's not winning this match, and he's showing it all to us on his face. And so Finn felt off.
Even Dom told him before the promo, "You're gonna go out there, what's the point? Like, it feels like they've already moved on. Your window's closed." And it is unfortunate, but yeah, WWE says they booked. I mean, let's be real. We're still thinking about that Punk Roman promo from last week in our heads. Like that is still echoing in our brains. That Roman, I hate you. I chose you because I hate you. God, pure, just fantasticness. So yeah, what's Finn gonna do? I mean, I want Finn to have a title shot as much as the next person. I want Finn to be on top. I think Finn is a fantastic wrestler, like you said, can cut a promo as well as anyone else in the company. But what are they doing? Because we all know it's not his time. So we're what filling in gaps for like we can't find a better match at Elimination Chamber for Finn or something, or whatever. Just and God, I mean, is Dom right? Are we just waiting for JD McDonough to come back and then Finn and JD can go get the tag titles back? I mean, is that really kind of what we're doing? Oh, it's frustrating because yeah, if I'm Finn, I'm as frustrated as anybody else because I've got to cut these promos knowing that I'm going to eliminate. Like everybody knows I'm going to Elimination Chamber to lose. There's no question mark. If anything, they should have let Finn win in Belfast, and then Punk could have taken it back for a minute at the Chamber. You know
Yeah.
that would have been the better move. But he's not dropping it at the Chamber, or if he drops it at the Chamber, what? Then they're gonna have a rematch on Raw the next Monday, and immediately Finn's gonna lose it so that they can continue on to WrestleMania the way they want to go. Yeah, yeah, it's tough, man. Like it's tough because we know where this WrestleMania match is going. We haven't even had Elimination Chamber. No Roman tonight. You know, we don't know how much Roman we're gonna get. It's I don't know, man. Like that. Maybe that promo last week came too soon. You know, maybe they should have waited
I
till after
was
Elimination Chamber or something.
I was actually about to say that exact thing is, maybe as great as the promo was and as cool as it was that Roman called a shot right after the Rumble, because that rarely happens, you could argue that maybe the moment was missed. Maybe we should have waited. And it's nothing new. Champions defend their titles between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania all the time. It's kind of become a recent thing when they don't do that. But I mean, guys used to defend their championships inside the chamber, and it actually changed hands quite a few times in the chamber, you know, leading up to WrestleMania. So yeah, it seems like a foregone conclusion that Finn is going to lose this. And
Or
I've
you
seen
know
a
what?
lot of people calling for Finn to be added or to win and then Punk get added and make it like a triple threat. Look, I love Finn as much as a lot of you guys do. I don't want that.
Don't want
I
the triple
don't
threat.
want a
No.
triple threat. I want Punk and I want Roman. That's the match I want.
Or
And I
or
feel
or
like we're
I want
destined for Finn and
I
Dom.
want them to write themselves into a corner, Casey. I want Finn to win at Elimination Chamber, and then have Roman pivot and maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe he's taking off Finn. Maybe Roman doesn't know what to do WrestleMania now because he really wanted to kick Punk's ass. I want to see them have to write themselves out of a hole then, because if you're going to give me this story, do something with it. Otherwise, we all know Finn's losing. Where's the fun in that? There's no fun in that. At least the Belfast match, I believed for a couple moments that Finn might take it. There's going to be no part of me at any long 2 count that Finn gets that I'm going to believe it's going to be a 3 count in the elimination chamber. So if it is, let's do it, and then let's see where you go. You know, but they're not, and so that's the whole problem with this. It's like you just gave me this amazing steak, and then this week you poured milk on it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's I don't know. I feel like WWE is kind of all over the place, and as excited as I was for the build to WrestleMania after the Royal Rumble, it feels like it's kind of simmered just in a week, you know, just immediately following because now we've got like again, Roman and Punk threw the shots at Drew last week, and then Drew kind of retaliated with some of his own words on SmackDown. Is that's not going to go anywhere? So, like, what's the point of all that? Was that just to show that Drew isn't going to back down? That he is you know a champion, and he's not going to let somebody disrespect him or anything. I don't really know what the whole point of that was. I think that maybe just Punk and Roman maybe went a little too in on Drew, you know, too much. So that WWE was like, okay, we can't let our champion on the other brand look like a little bitch. You know, we got to let him speak up and say something to these guys. Maybe that's it. I really don't know. With the mixing of Drew McIntyre into everything and now Finn Balor into everything, it's just like I don't see the point in all of it, and especially since the chamber is mixed between Raw and SmackDown now. I don't know. I feel like Finn is still destined for Dom at WrestleMania. I think Finn's probably going to lose at Elimination Chamber, and then Dom has like some tough words for him, or something happens on Raw, and he's eventually going to snap. Whatever, however they get there, I feel like that's still the destination for them at WrestleMania is Dom and Finn. It just feels like man, how many times are we supposed to take a shot to Finn's legitimacy before we're finally supposed to give up on this guy and not have any faith that he's ever going to be more than a mid Carter and main champion fodder? I hate to see Finn in the position he's in because he should be a world champion, but he keeps getting put in positions where he could be world champion. And then we look at the landscape of the main event scene and we're like, there's no way he's going to be champion. It just won't happen.
I know, but that's an interesting take. Like, what if this is all to serve Finn's story to take on Dom? But then once he wins the title, it's like this isn't even the title I wanted, and then we discount the Intercontinental title in a sense, you know, and that's not what I feel like they want to do. But I feel like that's the only thing we can do is to take this story and make it all about Dom not believing in Finn in a sense, and Finn going, I'm sick of you, Dom. I'm sick of you. Like you said, we get him and Dominic at WrestleMania, but then it's for the Intercontinental title. And then he wins the Intercontinental. He's like, I don't even want this. Throws it in the trash and goes, I'm coming after you, Roman, or I'm coming after you. What Punk, Finn part 3 in a year? Would they do that?
Yeah, well,
You
it's
know,
similar to what you mentioned earlier, where it feels like Becky or AJ is only after the title because Becky has it. It would then feel like that Finn is only going after the title now because Dom has it, and so it feels like more of the rivalry than the legitimacy of the championship.
right, right.
Yeah, and you know, whenever you talk about like throwing the title in the trash or whatever, we have seen in the past, it hasn't happened very often, but where a guy can like vacate his championship to say, I'm willing to bet on myself so much that I will vacate this championship to get a title match for the world title. And TNA did that a lot, where you could become the X Division champion and then basically hand in your championship for a guaranteed shot at the title at the next pay-per-view or whatever. And so that's the way of saying like, hey, look, I'm not discounting this championship. Like I really this championship is great, but in order to take the next step, I don't want to discount it by saying I'm only going to focus on holding that championship while also holding this one. I don't know. We've seen it before, but again, I just feel like this is all lose lose for Finn. I feel like maybe the heart like the thing that Dom said this past week or yesterday for to Finn feels like something that should have been said like a month ago, and maybe it would have been if Dom wasn't hurt. But it feels like we should almost be at the point to where the Judgment Day is going to collapse, and it feels like maybe we're just now starting to see the first real crack in the foundation. We've seen it struggling, we've seen it, bending and bending and bending, and now maybe what Dom said last week is the first little crack in the foundation of what could be the Judgment Day finally falling apart. But it feels like this should have happened so long ago, and now it feels like the title match is less important. There's no way he's going to win. CM Punk's just going to go on WrestleMania to face Roman anyway, so why are we even doing this? Is Dom going to cost Finn in the match like it always happens? I really don't know, but I'm not a big fan of where they're going with Finn.
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't know where they're going, but it's got to. It's I guess you're right. It's got to be with Dom. That's where we're going. Dom, Finn, WrestleMania for all the blood, for maybe the leadership
Yeah.
of the Judgment Day. Who knows what it's for? Loser leaves. I don't know, but we'll see what's
All
up
right, well
because
let's
we just had Jade Cargill and Jordan Grace beat Raquel and Liv. So it's like the women are even taking hits. Like the only thing they've got going right now is that Liv's got the title shot against. I'm assuming Steph. She officially declared last night, right? I mean,
no, she still
she's
hasn't.
still been declaring that promo. I mean, that promo was so,
Let
as
me
you
make
said,
sure, but I
it
don't
was
think she did.
awkward in the first place, and then there was a lot of it was fun because there's a lot of Spanish, throwing back and forth. I like that her and Dom went back and forth in Spanish, but yeah, I at the end I didn't realize did they call each other out? Is that what it's going to be? But she still hasn't technically called her out, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely didn't. She didn't declare yet. She said something along the lines of, "I'm not going to let you rush me into making a decision" or something like that. So still no decision, but I'm pretty sure we're all positive
Right. I mean, I
it's
feel
going
like
to
it's
be
going to be
Stephanie.
Stephanie, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about. We don't have to talk much about the match because I thought some of the match was sloppy. Some of it was fun, but the Usos retained over Otis and Tozawa in their tag team match. Again, some of it was fun, but some sloppy parts as well. But man, again, an episode of Monday Night Raw that felt lackluster and felt like it was just like missing. It felt like it was missing half the show almost. And after the match, Jimmy tells Jay to go and win his qualifying match for the chamber. And it's like, can we just focus on the tag titles, man? Why did we even put the damn titles on these guys? I know Jimmy had to disappear for a while. He had some personal issues going on, whatever. But then we get Jay coming out to do promos in the crowd for what, a month straight almost. And then we finally get a title defense out of the guys. And right after, Jimmy says, "Don't worry about these. Don't worry about these, bro. Go win that Elimination Chamber and get your title back." Why? Why can't we just focus on the tag team titles, man? Like, geez, it's just so frustrating. And I get it. Jay's not going to win the chamber. He's not going to win the chamber. But it's like, why do we even put him in the position in the first place? Like, I'm going to be even more annoyed if he wins his qualifying match next week. If he actually wins that match, I'm going to be really frustrated because, again, what is the point? He has a championship. Let's focus on that. This just, again, Jay Uso segments are at this point some of the most just frustrating for me lately because this was a guy in the bloodline when I had fallen out of pro wrestling. I fell away from pro wrestling not too long after the pandemic started when they were in the Thunderdome era. But when I came back and I saw what the bloodline was doing, don't get me wrong, Roman was great, Sammy was great, Paul Heyman was great, Solo was great in his role, but I always thought that Jey Uso did so great in his roles. And with the acting that he did, it felt so much better back then. To come a few years later and say now Jey Uso segments almost make me want to turn the show off every week. It is I could not be so far opposite from where I was a few years ago with Jey Uso. And this after the match with them saying, "Go get it, Jay. Go get it, Jay." And it's like you could almost hear in the crowd, they were just like, "Okay,
Are we supposed to yeet here? What are we supposed to do?
yeah, like, alright, I guess, like, look, man, it didn't work, and that's not saying that Jay can't go back to being a world champion ever again, but he's got the tag titles with his brother right now. Like, let's focus on those, and let's not pretend that the Monday Night Raw tag team division is the best tag team division even in this company, much less in wrestling. So let's focus on beefing up that tag team division. And I don't know, using maybe the best tag team to ever exist that's currently holding the tag team championships to do it. It's so annoying. And it's like, it's to the point that Jey Uso's going to get to the point where he's going to start to get booed out of arenas. And sure, the kids are going to yeet and people are still going to yeet. But when the match starts and the lights are on, people are going to boo him. That's what happened to John Cena. That's what's happening to Cody Rhodes. People get overexposed too much, and maybe I'm just too early on the horse of the Jey Uso hate train, but it's getting to the point of like I don't want to see this guy on my screen in this iteration of his character anymore. It is just overplayed, it's overdone, and he needs a new direction. And the thing is, you have the new direction on him right now in those tag titles, and you're still shoving him into the main event scene, trying to get him there. Let's take him away for like 6 months to a year and have people want him back in that scene again. Because right now it's not it and it's not working. A lot of stuff that was not working for me on this Monday Night Raw. It just was not my favorite episode of Monday Night Raw ever. It was one of my least favorite episodes in a while, I think. I just and this was a big reason for it. The match, cool. It is what it is. I know what I'm going to get from the Usos every time. I know what I'm going to get from Otis and Tozawa every time. The match was good. It was fine. It was fun, but it was after the fact that just it rolled my eyes, turned me off. I wanted to take a break from watching the rest of the show because I was just annoyed by it. But I'll stop yapping about it and let me know what you think.
All right, look, I don't think Jay's cut a good promo since he lost to Gunther. I think his promo work has been pretty awful since he lost to Gunther. I don't know if it's the losing the championship and just being upset and frustrated with the company because he only had it for like a month or whatever it was, but it feels something like that. Secondly, dude, Alpha Academy looked good. Like they looked real good. Like,
Bro, the Tozawa spot where he just like didn't even react and he just tore his shirt. That popped me actually a little bit. That made me laugh pretty hard.
dude, imagine if Akira Tozawa was like 6 foot, right? The poor dude, if he was just bigger, because that guy can wrestle. He is fun to watch. He can move. He's just whatever, 5'6" or whatever, you know? So
Now you got me curious. How tall is Akira
how
Tozawa?
tall is Akira Tozawa? Yeah. Probably even shorter than that, man. You know?
I'd
So
say I'm gonna guess like 5'8". He's 5'7", 5'7".
5'7". Okay, in between 5'6" and 5'8". So there you go. So 5'7" with boots on, probably.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, they weren't going to do it because if they were going to do it, this would have been the finishing match and not the opening match of the day. But I really wanted Alpha Academy to take. Like, I thought they wrestled better than the Usos did. I think their hearts were more in it. The Usos just didn't seem that invested. Like maybe they just need a break, man. Like maybe they need a long extended break where we don't see him and we appreciate him again. Because let's be real here, we're all kind of tired of Yeaton. You know, we're all kind of tired of play my music. You know, I mean, maybe the crowds aren't, but I think the viewing audience is. You know, I don't know. I mean, I just it's tough because I mean, yeah, Jay and Jimmy, a lot of fun. Obviously, as you said, greatest tag team maybe ever. But everything just feels stale with that. Like you said, worst episode of Raw, and it wasn't the wrestling; it was the promos that did it. The promos killed this episode because the wrestling was pretty good. This match, like I said, Alpha Academy showed off in this match. It was a great match for them to show out and lose. I hope that they continue to get some action, some more title shots, and I hope when the Usos do whatever they do, that maybe they get the titles here for a minute. Same with like all these other matches. Like they were enjoyable. We'll talk about the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches were enjoyable, but the AJ Lee promo was crap. The Finn Balor, like I said, we talked about CM Punk just didn't work. And then this post match, go get him Jay promo. It's just I don't know, man. Like I said, it was just a very weird like like nobody's happy maybe with the direction of where we're going, like talent wise on the road to WrestleMania. It feels like nobody is excited for their position in the road to WrestleMania right now. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe backstage, I'm curious what this will probably be, what, Unreal season 6 or season 5 or something, if they're doing it that long still. We'll finally find out what was going on behind the scenes, but man, it feels like there's just people unhappy with how they, and then like I said, the other issues, like people getting hurt, like Braun getting hurt, the fact that Seth's been hurt this whole time, you know, the fact we still don't have Bianca Belair back, right? Just all these injuries, I think, is the other side of the coin. So, but yeah, dude, I don't know what happened here. Because like I said, last Raw, as we said, was boom, balls to the wall. This one was just confusion on what I'm supposed to take away.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Again, like you said, matches were pretty good tonight, and this one had a lot of fun spots. I think my favorite spot was the spot where Ivy Nile was like upside down on the turnbuckle, and Lyra and Rhea were like up on the top trying to do the superplex, and then Ivy like German
Flip them,
suplexed
yeah,
them off.
sweep them both,
Yeah, I
yeah.
thought that was a really fun spot. And look, I kind of agree with you. Didn't really want Rhea to win this, but we knew she was. We knew that Rhea was going to win this match, and I didn't really want her to. I kind of wanted to see Lyra win this one and go to the chamber. I mean, don't get me wrong. Nile would have also been a really nice surprise. I don't think we're quite there with Ivy Nile, but I think that Ivy is starting to get that fan appreciation. The internet is starting to notice like how good she actually is, and she's actually pretty good on the mic, and she can obviously go in the ring, and she's as small in stature as she is, she's one of the strongest women on the entire roster. And it's actually not even really close in terms of like her and a lot of the other women on the roster. So look, I think that Ivy and Lyra are great talents. I think that maybe one of them should have won it because we kind of feel like maybe Rhea's going a different direction with WrestleMania. I don't see her going after Jade Cargill or Stephanie Vaquer. But unfortunately, we knew that Rhea was probably going to win this one from the jump. And she did. She ended up picking up the win. But I got to say, I think that all signs point towards Rio defending those tag titles against the Bella Twins at WrestleMania. I think that's where we're really headed. With the Bella Twins both coming back, Brie was a really unexpected surprise to come back because I didn't think that she'd be re-signing, especially with her husband being AEW, even though rumors say that Daniel Bryan may be coming back, eventually at some point. But as great as the Bella Twins are, they've never been women's tag team champions together. That's never happened. And the tag titles didn't become a thing, excuse me, until after they were, full-time competitors till they were gone. And so, yeah, man, I think that we're headed towards a heel Bella Twins team going up against Rio at WrestleMania. And as much as a lot of people don't like the Bella Twins, look, man, my stepmom and my sister, who don't watch a lick of wrestling, saw our clips the other day on TikTok, and they love the Bella Twins. They've seen every single reality show that the Bella Twins have ever been
Oh,
in.
I didn't know about that. There we go.
Dude,
Yeah.
they had Total Bellas, they were Total Divas. That's so it started with Total Divas as a reality show, and then the Bella Twins got so big, they got their own show called Total Bellas. And so the Bella Twins are like reality TV stars for a lot of people in regular everyday life that don't watch
Gotcha.
wrestling.
Gotcha.
And so, look, their reach is you can't argue against it. And as much as it may not seem like the knockdown, drag out barn burner that we want of a WrestleMania match, it's going to bring eyes and it's going to be a spectacle for a lot of people. And a lot of people that maybe don't watch wrestling will watch for the Bella Twins. So, yeah, give me the Bella Twins and Rio at WrestleMania. But in terms of this match, thought it was really fun. Thought all three women had a lot of fun spots together. But at the end of the day, we knew it was going to be Rhea.
Yeah, no, that was the problem. I mean, and Rhea needed a win, I guess, because she hasn't really had a singles win, I feel like, in a while. Maybe she has, and I forgot, but I feel like she hasn't had a singles win in a hot minute. It's all been the tag team. But at the same time, dude, like you said, Ivy now looked really good. Lyra Valkyria looked really. I'll tell you one. Lyra needs to start pumping some iron because Ivy and Lyra are about the same size, and you could just see how much stronger Ivy Nile is. And I think a lot of us, for a while, you look at Lyra and you see what she does, and you think of her as strong for her size, but then Ivy takes it to the next level. So regardless, I didn't think Rhea should lose this match. I want to see Ivy pin Lyra, or vice versa. Like I felt like Rhea shouldn't be involved in the finish, whatever it was going to be. But We got Rhea, which is great. Like I said, we'll see her, but I don't think she's winning Elimination Chamber. You don't think she's winning Elimination Chamber. So I just, I mean, I hate to go back to it, but Rhea Ripley is somebody who can get a title match tomorrow. You know, like she doesn't need the Rumble. She doesn't need elimination. She doesn't need these gimmicks in a sense. She doesn't need Money in the Bank. And I feel like Ivy and Lyra kind of do, and especially to continue to bring them over. Like, I mean, I think Lyra is so close to being all the way over, and I think Ivy's so close to being beginning of over, not thought of as an afterthought. And the worst feeling I had watching this was going back to the Chelsea Green comment of how this is Chelsea's ceiling, and I started wondering, is this Ivy Niles' ceiling? Because I feel like she's been here for a while, just sitting here losing these matches that I want her to win, and she never seems to come out on top. She always seems to be the wrestler who looks really good in defeat. And I'm wondering, man, is Ivy now hit her ceiling? And I really hope she has it, because I like even the new Ivy now we've gotten like in the last month and a half, 2 months with the cornrows and the braids and everything else. I love that look. I think it's fantastic. 100 times better than her old look. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Chad Gable's back, or El Grande Americano Original, whatever, is back.
Bold statement, Matt, for you to assume they're the same person. It's a bold statement.
Bold
man.
statement, I know. So, but yeah, I really wanted Ivy to win, or at least Lyra. And like I said, I'm the biggest Rhea Ripley fan there is. So, but I know that she didn't. I don't know. I don't know, man. I just didn't really want her to win this match, because I see like I said, she's also involved in other stories. She still got her tag team Rio story to finish out. I don't think they're gonna overpopulate this one. So yeah, if you got a feeling she's losing Elimination Chamber somehow, so we're sending somebody in that we know is gonna lose. Whereas if you send Lyra, I mean, you send Ivy, you probably know Ivy's gonna lose, but you send Lyra, you don't know. Lyra could win Elimination Chamber. You could give her a title shot. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world, especially if for some reason Liv decided to declare against Jade instead for some reason. You could see Lyra and Stephanie Vaquer probably having a pretty damn good match, so yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I love Rhea. I didn't feel like she had to win this. Kind of deflated that she did, just because it feels like business as usual.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if this is Ivy's ceiling, and I think that she's destined to be Intercontinental Champion at least once, maybe this year. But yeah, I don't know where we go with Rhea in terms of being in the chamber. I feel like maybe she's just like a big name that whoever wins can get a maybe one of the Bella sisters is in the Bella twins is in the chamber and eliminates Rhea or something along those lines, or maybe Io and Rhea are both in the chamber and one of them accidentally hits the other and costs one to be eliminated, and then through the whole
Right.
fiasco, the
That's
other one
always
gets eliminated.
that's always a story that we thought we'd see in the Rumble that, yeah, we might see play out in the Elimination Chamber.
All right, so let me see. We're talking about Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. I'm looking up. Let me see. Because they announced a qualifying match for next week. Yeah, so next week for the women's qualifying match, we're going to get Bayley versus Asuka versus Natty. And now I think that one's pretty hard to call in terms of who's going to win that one.
That's almost impossible. I think you give it by default to Asuka, but no, I think versus these other, like I said, I think Natty might be in the Ivy Nile role where I don't feel like she has a chance to win. I think it's a Bayley or Asuka thing probably coming away from it. But I mean, look, why not put Asuka in there with Rhea? Now you've got more of that bad blood in the Elimination Chamber. I don't know. But yeah, that one is a little more even, whereas you knew Rhea was winning this one pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Friday night on SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton, of course, qualified for the Elimination Chamber. So Rhea and Tiffy are the two names so far confirmed. Hey, I think that Tiffy's got a pretty good shot to win the whole thing and maybe go against Jade at WrestleMania in a rematch for that title. Because look, if Bianca's not back healthy, and that's the name we all thought that was going to be facing Jade at WrestleMania, right. And then Naomi's still not back from her pregnancy. Obviously, she hasn't had that baby yet. I mean, when
despite what AI tells me.
When I look at the landscape of the SmackDown main card, main event scene for the women's division, it's Jordynne Grace or it's Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffany Stratton is so over right now. She was so missed when she was gone. Then when she came back, it was such a big pop. I thought maybe you would run the risk of this getting stale by running the rematch because we've seen this match a few times. But I mean, a mega babyface against a mega heel and Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. I don't know. I think that maybe that's a pretty good possibility to be the WrestleMania match. So count Tiffany Stratton as an early sleeper pick for me without even knowing the rest of the field because it just kind of makes sense for her and Jade to run it back at WrestleMania and her maybe even take the title back from Jade. And I don't know. We'll see. But so far, those are the two names confirmed. For the women's chamber, do you have anything you want to add before we jump to the men's
I mean,
qualifiers?
I think you're right. I think Tiffany has a good chance, and even though we've seen Tiffany and Jade a few times, I feel like these are two wrestlers who have evolved a lot in the last year. So even though we've seen them, we haven't necessarily seen this iteration of them, you know. So I'm still all for it. I'm not getting tired by that matchup at all.
100% agree. All right, let's talk about the men's elimination chamber qualifiers. Of course, we already know that Randy Orton qualified on Friday Night SmackDown. We can talk about that more in a second. But in the main event of Monday Night Raw last night, of course, we got LA Knight. Yeah,
Yeah.
qualifying for the men's elimination chamber match with the masked man making another crazy appearance, another stomp. And hey, look, WWE kind of confirmed to us last night that it's not Austin Theory and it's not Logan Paul. They were both there to chase the masked man away. So unless they're just straight up telling us that it's Seth Rollins, I don't. A lot of theories have been saying maybe it's Grayson Waller because Grayson Waller and Austin Theory had their beef before
Right.
they split up, and maybe Austin or Grayson Waller's on the opposite side of this, to bat Austin Theory and Grayson Waller's working with Seth Rollins. Maybe some people are throwing out the idea that maybe Austin Theory and Grayson Waller came back together under the premise of working with Seth Rollins, and Austin Theory is the double agent, and Grayson Waller is the guy attacking everybody. And then when it's all said and done, they'll be on the side of Seth. Look, I don't know who this mask guy is, but I just like that they showed us, like I said last night, that it's not Logan Paul and it's not Austin Theory. At least we can assume because they were both in the building. So unless they're going to say, oh, well, it was just a different person every time, and that night, Austin Theory and Logan Paul just, stayed out of the mask. So that way, this guy who is a part of the plan the whole time could do that or whatever. I don't really know, man, because the Braun Breaker injury, which we need to talk about, kind of throws things up in the air even more now. Of course, if you haven't heard, Braun Breaker dealing with a hernia. He had to have surgery for it. It was apparently pretty severe. Excuse me, when he flipped that announcer's table, it apparently was so heavy that it just popped a little hernia and he had to have surgery. WWE is assuming that he's going to be back by WrestleMania, but you never know. There is always that chance that he won't make it back in time. And we're assuming that the plan was probably Braun and Seth, but now where do you go? It kind of feels like after the fact, Bronson Reed kind of insinuated that he is the leader of the group now, that he's got things handled. And so I don't know where we go with all that. But first, Matt, tell me what you think about LA Knight and Randy Orton qualifying for the Elimination Chamber matches. And then talk to me a little bit about the Masked Man and maybe where you might see it going.
Well, as far as Randy Orton, I mean, his elimination chamber match was kind of a foregone conclusion. He was wrestling Solo Sikoa, which we know he's got the storyline going on with the with the Wyatt Six and whatnot. So they're not breaking that up. And then the other guy was Aleister Black, and I don't think WWE knows what they're doing with Aleister Black yet. At the same time, I don't know how I feel about Randy Orton being in the elimination chamber. I feel like we got to do something with Randy, and it better happen in the elimination chamber then. Like something needs to give with Randy Orton soon, because right now, this whole waiting on Randy Orton's getting a little boring. I mean, I need some Randy Orton action somewhere doing something. We need to find out that he's the one that drop kicked Jacob Fatu in the mouth. We need him to go after Cody. We need something. Randy Orton has to do something because he's been doing a lot of nothing lately. Even in that elimination chamber match, wasn't really, much to write home about. Flip side, LA Knight, so happy that he's in the elimination chamber match. I hope it pans out to be something because LA Knight versus Drew or something like that. I think it would be a lot of fun. I think that'd be a really interesting match. It's probably going to be Cody or it's going to be Randy or somebody's going to walk away with Elimination Chamber. Somebody's already in the storyline, but man, I just look. Like you said, LA Knight's playing the Punisher for me right now. I almost wanted him to come out in black instead of red last night. Give me a black and white outfit, that same outfit, but do it in black and white instead of red. I think it would have looked incredible. Gets the win. Penta nowhere to be seen at that final tag, or our final pin. I mean, I don't know what Um, more the Masked Man. Let's talk about the Masked Man. As you said, it's not Logan. It's not Austin Theory. At least that's how we're being led to believe. Look, whatever WWE's doing with this Masked Man thing now, it better be good. Like, I almost want to make a list of them. I need to go back and look like all the people the Masked Man has helped. Because in a sense, he helped LA Knight tonight or last night, right? So I'm really curious how it all works out, like who he's helped each time. Like, try to find out what the motive is. Cause like at first, what didn't he originally help the Vision? Wasn't that the first move
Well
in War
well,
Games?
that was the first Masked Man, and we found
That's
out
what
that
I
was
was
Austin
saying.
Theory.
Yeah.
Now this is a new guy.
I'm just
So this
saying.
is a new Masked
I
Man. This
want
is someone
I want to
different.
look and see what the Masked Man's done each time. I want to go back and be like, who benefited, and just see if it makes sense. See if I can find a way to wrap my brain. If it is Seth, how do I wrap my brain around this? If it's not Seth, who is it? Like, that would be the greatest rug pull if it's not Seth and it's somebody that makes sense. Better not be Jake Paul. Do not want it to be Jake Paul. That's my one thing. I'd rather it be Logan at some time and Austin Theory at some time. I'd rather that theory than it's Jake Paul. If this is the way we get Jake Paul in the WWE, I might stop watching for a month.
Yeah. Yeah, we might be TK Wrestling covering AEW at that point.
But yeah, I mean, look, that's what I just want this to pay off because it's so much fun right now that the payoff has to work. And if it's Seth, then I guess it works. But man, I'd love it if it was somebody just left field that we didn't think about. Like, I don't know. Just I'm not sure who you put in there. I'm not even Grayson Waller. I'm talking about somebody. It's like when you find out, like, what if it's Chris Jericho?
Well, first of all, if you want us to believe that Chris Jericho is moving that nimbly in his 50s, nope, you're not convincing me. I'm sorry. I'm not saying he can't move at all,
Right,
but
right, right.
not like that. Well, a lot of theories have been that it's Montez Ford. And if you look at Montez Ford from the Street Profits, he's bulked up a lot lately to where maybe that physique makes a little sense.
But I mean, have we been able to tell if nothing else that the dude's white? You know, I feel like
Yeah,
if
but
nothing
that could
else,
also just be, yeah, I mean, I guess at the same time, but I guess in terms of like body style, now that I'm saying that body like style and skin color it could all just be a ruse. It could end up being
I mean, because I'd
anybody at the
love it
end of
if
the
it was our
day.
truth. But I mean, I can't, logically think it's our truth when I'm 90%, 95% sure it's a white dude. You know,
Well, and no shade to our truth, but our truth doesn't feel like a big enough name to justify it. Like, I don't know. I just couldn't see our truth.
no, and I'd be for Montez Ford. I'm a big Montez Ford guy, and he would fit in a lot of ways. But yeah, whatever it is. In some ways, I don't want it just to be Seth. Like, I want Seth to be pulling the strings. I'm all about Seth being the ringleader. I'm all about the idea that, maybe it is like, I like your theories of it's Grayson Waller and it's Austin Theory, or it's Logan Paul and it's Austin Theory, and they're just acting like they don't know what's going on. I'd be perfectly fine with that. I don't want it just to be Seth. I want something. Hell, introduce me to a new wrestler. Like, you didn't know, but this guy's been coming up from NXT. We didn't tell you. Like, is there an NXT guy it could be? Is there a
You know what
TNA
I
guy?
would
Like, what if it's Joe Hendry?
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking? That I'm thinking now that we're talking about it, what I would really like to see, I got two little mini fantasy bookings for you, and I'll be quick with them. But at WrestleMania, give me LA Knight and give me Bronson Reed, to kind of tie up this whole Vision versus LA Knight storyline. And honestly, it's going to sound weird, but don't even give Logan Paul and Austin Theory a match. They're just in Bronson Reed's corner. It's the
Right.
Vision in the corner of LA Knight because LA Knight has been the Punisher for all these months. He's been taking out the Vision, and at every turn he takes them down or whatever. Give me Bronson Reed and LA Knight at WrestleMania. Give me like I think that the mask guy should be like multiple people, and then multiple people at WrestleMania show up in the masks, and then we get like multiple reveals. I think that maybe we should get like two masked men, and it be one be Seth. Give me one to be Grayson Waller. I'm fine with that. And then right when it looks like you're going to have Seth and Grayson Waller outnumbered by Division, I think you should have Logan Paul and Austin Theory reveal that they were all in with Seth this whole time. And then they basically beat down Bronson Reed, cost him the match against LA Knight. LA Knight slays Division. And now we have a new direction for Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman to go against Seth Rollins and his new faction, which would be Seth Rollins, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, Logan Paul. And that could be maybe the original vision. That's who Seth really wanted. That's what he could say. These are the guys I've always wanted, because he had his thing with Austin Theory a few years back where they were the messiahs or whatever. And then when it comes to, let's go back a little bit. Let's backpedal just a hair, because we were talking about the men's elimination chamber qualifiers. Let's talk about Randy Orton. As of right now, I think Randy Orton's probably my pick to win the chamber match. It's his 10th chamber. They're making a big deal out of it. And I could see him winning and going and forcing a fatal four-way situation where it's Drew, Cody, Randy, and Fatu all in a fatal four-way at WrestleMania. I think that maybe we could see a situation where Randy hits the punt kick on Cody and it leaves Cody injured in such a way in the match that it sparks that light bulb in Jacob Fatu, and he like realizes that Randy was the one that attacks him. And remember what I said last week, where Randy just gives that little menacing turn and then he just gives like a smile, and he kind of confirms without words that it was him that attacked Jacob. And then Drew can run in, boom, double Claymore kick, and he pins Fatu to retain the title at WrestleMania. So now we can write Cody off of TV for a few months because he just took that crazy punt kick from Randy. We can go with Randy and Fatu in their rivalry, because now that we know that Randy attacked Fatu, and we can give Drew a new direction with the title, and we can have him hold that title for a little longer. So those are my two little mini fantasy bookings in terms of like how I see LA Knight and the Vision tying up their stuff, and how I see Drew McIntyre and that title scene kind of meeting its end. So yeah, I just wanted to I've been thinking about it all day and where I kind of saw those going. So, I'm throwing those out there into the ether to see what happens. So that way, if it happens and we come back and we're like, look, Casey predicted it. So
I am curious what it's going to be like when Seth comes out and faces LA Knight, and LA Knight knows that Seth's been helping him in a sense, because
exactly, because they have history.
No, that could be really interesting.
Man.
Like I said, if it's a Seth faction, I like that booking. But then, like I said, LA Knight having to turn, because I think Seth comes out last. Like first, like Grayson Waller comes out in the mask and whatever does something, and then you turn around and both Logan Paul and Austin Theory are in masks now in the corner. And like I said, you get that beat down, and then here comes Seth at the top of the stairs. His music comes on, burn it down, and he's just walking
Well,
out.
I think
Or you
Seth
think he's
might
going to
come
get
back with new music finally.
music?
Yeah.
Man,
Finally.
I guess we'll see. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat that song, dude. That's a banger. I
I'll
don't
have
get
to
me wrong.
find
It's
his
time for new
Messiah
music.
song for you.
It's time for music, but yeah, that's a banger.
Yeah.
So
I think the Burn It Down just needs to go. I think the Burn It Down is just, he's had that for like 10 years now. It's, all right, man. How many cities you got left to burn down, man? Like, come on. I'm over it. All right, so last thing we'll talk about, because I'm really curious. Well, let me check the rumor mill. Was there anything we wanted to talk about from the rumor mill? We talked about how they were optimistic that Braun would be back by WrestleMania. Let's talk about Javon Evans real quick, because man, not only is Javon just like, we've already talked about how supremely athletic he is, but man, that cutter from the corner where he met, I forget which Americano in the middle, and then they changed the camera angle right whenever he hit it. That was like, I don't know, man. I hate to like overstate this because I feel like I've said this a lot about talent lately. I don't know that I've ever seen that move in a WWE ring before, like executed that way. It was Randy's got the RKO, the cutter, and so he executes it a lot, catching guys in the air. But we've never really seen a guy that has a cutter in the way that Javon Evans has the cutter, where he can meet guys in the air and hit that cutter that way. So that move was just absolutely, utterly ridiculous, and we definitely had to talk about that. But my big question, what are we doing at WrestleMania with Javon Evans? Like, what does this kid got? I don't see any direction for him right now.
No,
in
see, I
terms
was
of where he
surprised to see him
goes.
tagging with El Grande Americano Original. I didn't know that was coming, and I didn't know that there was any connection really besides they were in the Rumble together.
I don't really think there is. I think they were kind of thrown together.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're doing with Javon Evans. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, as you said, like that cutter was amazing. What that suplex we talked about last week, or not last week, but a couple weeks ago that he did, that he had like the kip up off the suplex. I mean, he's finding ways to make moves his. And like, even though he's not actually going to the Olympics for triple jump, if I'm Triple H, I am getting like an Olympic coach for him. Like, because let's be real here, you don't want Javon Evans to lose that hop. And eventually it's going to come. Like eventually, he's going to hit an age where he can't jump as high anymore. It's just that's to be a natural part of life. So let's get him the best coaching right now so he can maintain, and I'm sure he probably has it, but so he can maintain that jumping ability. So he's got those leaps, he's got those ups. So it isn't something that deteriorates anytime soon, because man, it is so much fun to watch him. Like I said, just do a standing drop kick in the middle of the ring and just like, jump over a guy's head almost when he's hitting that drop kick. It's just a lot of fun. I don't know where he's going. I don't know what he's doing. It's like talking about Obafemi over there on SmackDown. They put him up against Kit Wilson for 20 seconds last week, and it was great. It was fantastic. What are they doing with Obafemi besides just showing that this dude is just massively strong? That would be a fun match. Javon Evans and Obafemi, like the ultimate like
They've
strongman
it's been
versus
done, brother,
it
in
has it.
NXT. It's been
NXT, I'm
done. Oh
sure. I'm
yeah.
sure it has in NXT, but we haven't seen it in WWE. So maybe it's that the
Yeah.
ultimate strongman versus the ultimate whatever flyer,
Flyer,
hops
yeah.
man, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So I don't know, dude, but Javon Evans is a lot of fun to watch. Just keep giving him matches and let him just show out, because that's more what I want to see. I just want to see him continue to show me moves I know done in ways I haven't seen.
Yeah, he's extremely fun to watch. I'm just hope he doesn't get left off the WrestleMania card, and chances are he might, and he'll just have like a big match on the Raw after or the Raw before. But hopefully we find a place for him. Let's address some of the rumors on the rumor mill real quick. We talked last week about maybe doing an El Grande Americano and American Made six-man tag match against the Los Americanos. But the plan right now is an El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano match at WrestleMania, and apparently they see big money in it. I agree. I think it's a pretty big money match. Bring in the AAA fandom and then bring them back to AAA from the WWE. And I think you should make it a mask versus mask match. I think that's just the natural progression of the feud and where it's going. But the funny thing, Matt, I want to talk to you about with them is, have you seen the polar opposite of what they are in AAA?
No.
El Grande Americano in the current iteration that we know it is booed here in the States and is a massive babyface in Mexico in AAA, and it is the exact opposite. El Grande Americano OG is loved here in the States, and he is hated in AAA. They hate him. And so it's this weird thing where these guys are feuding in both companies, but they're both different iterations of their characters
Right.
at the
Right.
exact same time, but at different times as well. It's so interesting and something that we've never really been able to see with WWE talent, because it used to be that if you were in WWE, that was it. You couldn't do AAA, you couldn't do TNA, you couldn't do in all these other places. And now we're seeing this really interesting, double rivalry almost in a way. So yeah, you should definitely go check that out. But yeah, according to rumors, the El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano match is set for WrestleMania and more than likely going to happen. So give me that. I'm ready to see that.
Yeah, no, we've all been, I guess, not even for the mask, but or a demasking match, but also like who gets the name. It's more like who is El Grande Americano. Who gets the name, who walks away with naming rights in a sense. That's what I
Yeah.
want to see.
Yeah, because it almost feels like Chad, or well, who we assume is Chad Gable, should lose that match, so that way he can go back to being Chad Gable. Because, look, man, who we assume is Ludwig Kaiser is super over in the gimmick. He is really good and easily plays the part because he's fluent in Spanish. Dude speaks like 5 languages, so it's like he's so over that it almost should be Chad Gable that loses that match. But like, it almost feels like Chad Gable should be winning that match. So I'm really excited about it. Regardless, I think it's going to be really fun. We don't have to touch too much on this, but apparently WrestleMania 42 tickets are really, really low. We talked about it before the show about how a lot of they're blaming it on creative plans changing on repeat. But we said, I think it's just that it's too expensive.
Maybe
It's
just
just
a little bit.
like it costs basically a bad used car just to get into the door of WrestleMania. People like us can't justify that.
No, it's hard for the average fan. And then the other thing I've been hearing lately, and I mean, I don't notice it as much, but I've heard it like when I watch Asante is talking about how quiet the American crowds have been lately. Well, when you get a bunch of people who can afford and don't watch wrestling but just want to be there for the experience, and then you exclude all your all your diehard fans who can't afford it or can't take their kids and whatnot. I mean,
That's it right there, yep.
that's the other thing. Like, even if we were able to go, Casey, God, could you imagine, buying Spence a ticket, as well? That'd be so. I don't know. With all the money that TKO and WWE seem to have brought in with these recent deals with Netflix and with ESPN and Lord knows the Saudi Arabia and everybody else, you would think that they would pass it on to the consumer in some ways. Not like t-shirts are getting any cheaper either. You're still paying $35 to $50 for a t-shirt. It's like, look, man, I get it's a business, but it's sometimes you gotta like love your customers. And I don't know how much, WWE loves their customers right now.
Yeah, especially since you cut the live event circuit, like, you don't run live events in the small towns anymore, like, our town used to get 1 to 2 WWE shows live events per year in our local
Uh-huh.
civic center, and those don't happen anymore, we don't get those shows anymore, and, a lot of people try to justify it that way, "Well, they don't do live events, so they don't make as much money from those gates." It's like, yeah, but they're signing billions of dollars worth of deals now,
Yeah,
like, the live
and
events
let's
don't
be real
happen, but
here.
they're getting much bigger deals.
Like they were like I'll admit, you want to cut a live event here, that's understandable because maybe we sell 1,000 tickets here, but like I said, you're not losing a bunch of money because you're not getting those 1,000 ticket sales. Trust me, that's not a revenue, issue. That's if anything, it's cost effective probably to cut them because you're probably maybe not making any money doing the live shows at 1,000 tickets. So I get that, but look, as you said, nosebleeds for a Money in the Bank, $800 or whatever, for nosebleeds. Like that's just, it's hard to justify when my couch is very comfortable and I could watch Money in the Bank, from home for free technically or whatever my
And I can't even hear the commentary when I'm live in person.
right.
Like,
So,
don't get me wrong, the WWE experience is great, but not, at the risk of putting yourself into debt to do it.
and it's not like WWE is the only sport that does this. Like,
Of
Super Bowl
course not.
tickets are ridiculous. A lot of sports tickets are ridiculous. The only thing that might be justifiable is like baseball because they have like 162 games and sometimes you can catch like a Wednesday afternoon game and get like a $10 to $20 ticket in Chicago.
Yeah.
But so I get it, prices across the board, but it just seems as much as because the WWE likes to let us know how successful they're doing with these deals. They're not hiding it. So to do that and then continue to charge an absorbent amount, can't be surprised maybe if WrestleMania is not selling out in yet again one of the priciest cities in America when it comes to Vegas. It's not cheap to stay in Vegas. Hotels aren't cheap. Transportation is not cheap. Meals aren't cheap. People go to Vegas to lose money. So I mean,
Yeah.
look, I just want it to be for everybody. I miss the days of seeing, just. That's the most fun, dude, is watching those kids eat with Jey Uso. Talking about Jey Uso, but one of my favorite things is the way Jey Uso interacts with the kids. You know, but there's gonna be less and less kids. The higher prices you go. If you're making $800 nosebleeds, man, I could imagine taking a kid and paying $800 for it. It's just, I don't know, but I don't make a ton of money, so maybe if I was rich, I'd be like, whatever.
Well, and that's the thing, we could probably afford to take ourselves, like, Dr. Di could probably buy himself a ticket, but, like, I don't wanna go sit at a WWE PLE by myself. Like, I wanna go with my friends, I wanna bring my
Right.
son and my wife, and I don't wanna have to pay $3,000 to bring my son and my wife to a WWE PLE,
Or you want to
in a
pitch it
city
to
that
your
I already have to
friends.
drive 3 hours to.
Yeah, or you want to pitch it to your friends and have them not make it a cost thing, like, oh, dude, I'd go, but it's $1,000. Like nobody, it's hard to ask a friend to go, hey man, you want to go spend $1,000? Now, a
Yeah.
$100, $200 even, that's still expensive. Don't get me wrong, but at least it's in the 21st century more of a reasonable price. I could turn and say, because almost any concert you go to now is going to be 100 to $200 probably. Like we got Post Malone and Jelly Roll playing Baton Rouge, and that ticket is pricey.
Yeah.
So I get it. But if I turned to a friend and said, "Hey man, you want to go see Post Malone and Jelly Roll? It's $150." They would think about it. And they might say yes. If I said you want to go see him, it's $1,000. I would get an immediate
A thou
no.
$1,000 just to get in the door, man.
Right.
Like, again, like you said, not including travel, food, stay. If you wanna get a beer at the event, you're paying an extra $20 just for a single beer.
Hmm.
So it's like, Come on, man. Come on, WWE. Triple H brags every single press conference about it's the record gate. We've never made more money than
Right.
we made tonight in this city. And it's like, okay, pass some of that down, man. Don't y'all believe in trickle down economics up there? Come on, trickle it down a little bit. Like, let us have some of the pie. Like, we just want to go to the shows at our local, even if you don't give us the local shows, just make it to where I can afford to get into the nosebleeds,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
bare minimum.
Like, I mean, I get it. If you ringside seats, make them as expensive as you want, because you know what? I wasn't going to get them afford them anyways. Like, so even if like your nosebleeds are 200, the ringside were 1,000, I still wasn't going to. So you can make ringside 5,000, 10,000. Let these people, with the big paychecks, open it up, get the ringside seats. But then for Joe Q Public, like I said, where's my $50 nosebleed, maybe $200 midsection? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with that $200 midsection, I'm going all day long. I'm going all day long for $200 midsection.
Now look, let me show this to the audience at home in case they're watching because I still have it pulled up, just in case you think we're joking. Nosebleeds not quite as bad as Dr. Dye said, but if you want to go to WWE Money in the Bank, well, that's probably for WrestleMania. Nosebleeds are $800, but if you want to go to Money in the Bank in New Orleans, this is proof right here. The absolute last row in the stadium costs you a little over $300 per ticket. That's to sit in the very last row of the stadium. If you shrink it down, you can you can see how far you would be from the ring if you bought the very cheapest ticket. And it's like 10 years ago, man, I get it. I get it. Economy's different, money's different, things get more expensive over time. But 10 years ago, I could probably get that same ticket for like $85, you know? And it's not like you've changed much of the product. It's not like you've changed much of the presentation. It is wrestling at the end of the day. And yeah, and that's a lot of what Vince was scared of whenever he didn't want to sell. He was scared of it becoming too corporate and becoming too expensive. And as terrible of a guy as Vince McMahon is, his business acumen was there. And maybe he had a point about that specifically. Screw him for everything else he did. But at the end of the day, he was very vocal and adamant that he never wanted to sell for that very reason. He didn't want it to become too expensive for the normal everyday fan. And unfortunately, WWE, your ticket sales are probably low because it has become that. It has become too expensive for the average everyday fan. And look, it's everything now. Everything's too expensive, but hey, look, TKO higher ups, if you're listening, it's not because of the booking. We're not buying the tickets because of the booking. Like you said, Matt, as a diehard fan, I'm not choosing to go to WrestleMania or not choosing to go to WrestleMania based on the booking decisions. I'm going to go because I want to experience the spectacle of WrestleMania. And if you price me out of that, it's not very hard for me to decide, well, I guess I'm not going to WrestleMania this year.
I'm really curious. I'm really curious to put a price on the whole thing. Because I mean, really, if I'm WWE, I'm offering packages with flights, hotels, and everything, and I'm making it as cheap as possible I possibly can. You know, like with flights and hotels, can you get me there for under 2 grand? I mean,
Well,
because
dude,
that's still a high number.
I miss the old days. Like I was too young to do it, but like sometimes I wish I was the age I am now, back in like the mid 2000s or whatever, because like I'd be going to so many shows, dude. Like I remember back in the day, I'm sure they still do pre-sale around the same time, but in November, pre-sale for WrestleMania tickets would go up and you could buy like your travel packages, your VIP packages and all that. You could get it all done in one
Hmm.
go. And don't get me wrong, they were a little pricey, but I guarantee you the same package that would have cost like 5 grand when I was a kid, to get everything done. Like you get a family of four, travel, hotel, tickets to every show for the weekend, and you could probably do that for like 5 grand. That's probably a $50,000 package for a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
these
Oh
bigger
yeah.
shows now. Like you're seeing videos of like Santi and Troy Dan and a lot of other guys that are paying $1,000 for one ticket to be the fourth row off of ringside at these major PLEs. And it's like, I'm glad they had the means to do that, but that's not realistic for 99.99999% of people in the world. That's not realistic. And so, I don't know. I mean, cool, you're getting the money, TKO, but like, are you really? Because you can't sell out your arenas now. We can't afford it. So,
Well, like I
I don't
said,
know.
there's got to be at least a little pushback. There's got to be some way we come back and meet in the middle. And like I said, it's not just WWE. You talk about it. I wish I had this amount of money 20 years ago for Comic Cons, you know? But now,
Mm,
like, Comic Cons are the same way, because of all the movies and whatnot. They're no longer comic book central. Now they're more movie and anime cons. But man, like, I wanted to, meet Todd McFarlane, all these guys like 20, 25 years ago, and it would have cost me $100 to get into the con and get like VIP like signing passes. Now, you're paying $2,000 just to get in the door, let alone everything else. So yeah, you know,
yeah.
look, fandom's tough, man. It's tough.
Hey,
Find a way,
all of that to
brothers.
say, look, all of that to say, support your local indie wrestling, support your local Comic Cons because shout out to SciFicon. We've got SciFicon coming up in April. And, while it's a little pricey to get the weekend pass, you're talking less than $100 for the whole weekend pass.
Hmm.
And you might not meet the huge names that you're going to meet elsewhere, but you'd be surprised who you can meet and the stuff you can find. And, again, support your local stuff. And speaking about supporting local indie wrestling, Matt, and then we'll head off on this. Matt and I got some stuff in the works about some. We were doing some interviews with some indie guys a while back, but we were doing them all remote, and we're trying to switch it up. We're trying to do some in-person stuff, so expect some news about that. Hopefully, coming up soon. Dr. Di and I are going to have a little business meeting after the pod is over, but yeah, expect some more local indie wrestling stuff that we can highlight a little bit more of the Louisiana and hopefully Texas scene and give you guys some extra content that's not just the podcast and the clips and stuff. Maybe you can get some clips from some of these guys and gals that are working on the indie scene because who knows, man. I won't name drop some people, but as Matt can tell you, I've interviewed some people and I've worked shows with people in the indie scene that are in WWE right now that work their way up. So you never truly know who you will see at an indie show, who they'll be in 5 years. You might see your next favorite wrestler that makes it to the WWE. The referee Daphne from WWE. She's the woman of color, long hair, and she messed up a count a few months ago and kind of got her taken off of TV for a while. Daphne, I actually met. I won't pretend we're close friends or anything. We're friends on Facebook, but that's simply through being at the same event at the same time years ago. I actually met Daphne when she was a wrestler on the independent scene. She was booked for a show here in Louisiana, in Sunset, Louisiana, at what they call the Old Rooster Pit. Back when cockfighting was legal in Louisiana, that's where they would go. They would fight the roosters in that little arena. And it was like a little circular arena where all the seats were in like a circle. And so we set up the ring like in the middle. It was a cool little venue, don't get me wrong. But that's where I first met Daphne. And all that to say, years later, now she's been an official. She's officiating for WWE and has officiated multiple WrestleMania matches. I think a WrestleMania main event. And I met her at a show in front of 30 people. So again, you never know who can be the next big person and you never know who might be your favorite. Look, their merch is a lot of the times cheaper. Their interactions are a lot more personable. So support your local indie scene because that's what we're going to be doing. And that's what I've done that's how I cut my teeth in the wrestling scene very early on was on the local indie scene. So again, you can go get ringside for $20 a ticket and have a VIP experience and probably meet some Hall of Famers that get booked for these shows. So all that to say, watch WWE, but go support your local indie shows if you have one nearby. Go give them your money because you can spend a fraction and have probably a really fun time.
But yeah, no
All right,
doubt.
Matt. Well, let's get out of here and shout out to our friends at Pro Wrestling 225. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, Matt, you got anything else you want to add through the rumor mill or looking forward to Friday Night SmackDown this week before we get out?
Nah, but nothing else. Go check out the new website, the updated
Mm-hmm.
website, the tailgatekings.com. Like it's got TK Wrestling on there. It's got our recipes that we did. Like I said, we're on local news station all week last week doing Super Bowl recipes for the Super Bowl last Sunday. So we got that. Go check that out. Like I said, obviously follow us on the TikTok, on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on all that fun stuff. Casey's always publishing shorts on that YouTube. And like I said, we want to know. Like I said, let me know. Are you going to what's the next WWE event? Or what's the last WWE event that you went to? When was the last time you went? Are you going to any upcoming? Have you been? And do you think LA Knight's the Punisher?
And if you can afford to go to all these shows, what do you do for work? And are you hiring? Because I want in because I need in on that. But yeah, so I agree with you, Matt. Go check out the new website. Go check out everything. Matt and Chef Chad were dropping some great recipes last week. I had a friend hit me up they said they were gonna try the wings that Chad made. So yeah, make sure you go try the recipes too. We've got all the recipes up there with it, cooking instructions, all that prep, how to do it all. So go check out the recipes and try them out for yourself. Let me what was the please tell me how to pronounce it because I don't know how to pronounce it. Salmon, is it
Gravlax, Gravlax, Gravlax.
Gravlax? Gravlax. Okay, so
Yeah.
that looked pretty appetizing. So
Dude, it's
I think
really
that's gonna be a
interesting, man,
must
'cause I
see,
like I
but
said, I had some leftover, and I was like, "Chad, what do I do?" And I honestly, I put in, like, some, soft taco shells, and I made, like, salmon
mm.
soft smoked salmon soft tacos, pretty good.
Ooh, that sounds actually really good. Now that you say that, I'm a little hungry myself. But yeah, all right. So we're gonna get out of here with TK Wrestling, and make sure you check out all the socials. You guys have been killing it on TikTok lately. Actually, our videos have been climbing in views and likes lately. Matt's Punisher video has over a 13% like ratio right now, which is excellent. That's more than double what we've been averaging. So, like I said, you guys are killing it on TikTok right now. Keep doing that. And until next time, this has been TK Wrestling. We're out of here.